The Supreme Court has special advisory jurisdiction in matters which may specifically be referred to it by the President of India under Article 143 of the Constitution. There are provisions for reference or appeal to this court under Article 317 of the Constitution, Section 257 of the Income Tax Act 1961, Section 7 of the Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969, Section 130A of the Customs Act 1962, Section 35H of the Central Excises and Salt Act 1944 and Section 82C of the Gold Act 1968. Appeals also lie to the Supreme Court under the Representation of the People Act 1951, Monopolies and Restrictive Trade Practices Act 1969, Advocates Act 1961, Contempt of Courts Act 1971, Customs Act 1962, Central Excises and Salt Act 1944, Enlargement of Criminal Appellate Jurisdiction Act 1970, Trial of Offences Relating to Transactions in Securities Act 1992, Terrorist and Disruptive Activities Act 1987 and Consumer Protection Act 1986. Election petitions under Part 3 of the Presidential and Vice Presidential Elections Act 1952 are also filed directly in the Supreme Court. The appellate jurisdiction of the Supreme Court can be invoked by a certificate granted by the High Court concerned under Article 132, 133 or 134 of the Constitution in respect of any judgment, decree or final order of a High Court in both civil and criminal cases involving substantial questions of law as to the interpretation of the Constitution. Appeals also lie to the Supreme Court in civil matters if the High Court concerned certifies that the case involves a substantial question of law of general importance and that, in the opinion of the High Court, the said question needs to be decided by the Supreme Court. In criminal cases, an appeal lies to the Supreme Court if the High Court has on appeal reversed an order of acquittal of an accused person and sentenced him to death or to imprisonment for life or for a period of not less than 10 years, has withdrawn for trial before itself any case from any court subordinate to its authority and has in such trial convicted the accused and sentenced him to death or to imprisonment for life or for a period of not less than 10 years or certified that the case is a fit one for appeal to the Supreme Court. Parliament is authorized to confer on the Supreme Court any further powers to entertain and hear appeals from any judgment, final order or sentence in a criminal proceedings of a High Court.